Everyone overreacted. I'm serious. The entire situation was blown completely, totally, utterly, absurdly out of proportion by people who have no sense of humor whatsoever and can't understand the concept of a joke or casual observation. It was just a joke, just words, just a comment that came out of my mouth during a family gathering where everyone was drinking and laughing and having what was supposed to be a good time. People compare family members all the time. All the time. At every single family event I've ever been to, people make observations about who looks like who has whose personality, who got the good genes and who didn't. Oh, you look just like your brother but taller. You have your father's eyes but your mother's smile. Your cousin is so successful, why aren't you more like him? These kinds of comparisons happen at every single family event, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody treats it like it's some kind of crime. But apparently, when I make one harmless observation about my husband's cousin, suddenly I'm the villain of the century. I didn't say I loved his cousin. I never, ever said that. Those words never came out of my mouth. I never said I wanted to be with his cousin, or that I was in love with his cousin, or that I had romantic feelings for his cousin, or that I was planning to leave my husband for his cousin. I just said, and this is important, this is what actually happened. If I'd met him first, things might have been different. That's it. That's literally all I said. Just a hypothetical observation about how life could have potentially, possibly maybe gone differently if circumstances and timing had been different. If I'd met Chase before I met Derek. That's all. It's not like I was planning some affair. It's not like I was making actual plans to pursue something with Chase. I was just making an observation, a throwaway comment, the kind of thing people say all the time without meaning anything serious by it. I mean, look, and I need people to understand this, it's not my fault his cousin is attractive. Genetics exist. They're related. They share DNA. They come from the same family gene pool. So obviously there are going to be some similarities in appearance, and obviously if one of them is attractive, then there's a reasonable probability that the other one might be too. That's just basic biology. That's not me being inappropriate or crossing lines or disrespecting my marriage. That's me acknowledging objective reality. His cousin Chase is objectively good-looking. Everyone knows it. Everyone in the family knows it. Everyone who's ever met Chase has noticed that he's tall and fit and has good bone structure and dresses well. I just had the honesty, maybe too much honesty, to say it out loud instead of pretending I'm blind. And my husband knows I joke when I drink. He knows this about me. We've been together for 4 years. 4 years of me being exactly the same person, having exactly the same personality, exhibiting exactly the same behavior patterns when I've had a few drinks. He should know by now that when I have a few beers or glasses of wine, my filter disappears, and I say whatever pops into my head without thinking about how it might sound to other people, without considering whether it might hurt someone's feelings, without the usual social conditioning that keeps us all from saying every thought that crosses our minds. That's just who I am when I'm drinking. It's not malicious. It's not calculated to hurt anyone. It's just me being more honest and less filtered than usual, me saying out loud the observations that everyone else is thinking but too polite to voice. He should have laughed it off. He should have made a joke back, something like, "Well, you're stuck with me now," or "Too bad Chase has standards." He should have understood that I was just being tipsy and silly and not meaning anything serious by what I said. That's what normal people do when their spouse says something dumb while drunk. They laugh it off and maybe tease them about it the next day when everyone's sober. Honestly, he embarrassed me way more than I embarrassed him. What he did in response to my harmless comment was cruel and calculated and meticulously designed to humiliate me in front of his entire extended family. He could have pulled me aside privately, could have told me quietly that what I said hurt him, could have given me a chance to apologize without an audience, could have handled this like a mature adult instead of staging this elaborate revenge plot. But no, he had to make a spectacle of it. Had to make sure everyone witnessed my humiliation. Had to send that text to Chase knowing full well what would happen. Had to pack my bags in front of everyone. Had to make me stand there while his cousin showed up and rejected me publicly. But somehow I'm the bad guy. Somehow I'm the one who ruined everything. The double standard is absolutely unbelievable. What people don't understand, what nobody wants to acknowledge, is that Chase and I have always gotten along well. Really well. Since the first time Derek introduced me to his family 4 years ago, Chase and I clicked. We have similar senses of humor. We like the same kind of music. We can actually have interesting conversations about books and movies and current events instead of just sports and video games like Derek and his other relatives. At family gatherings, we'd end up in the same conversations, laughing at the same jokes, having actual intellectual discussions instead of just small talk. And yes, I noticed he was attractive. Yes, I noticed he was successful and confident and well-dressed and charming. But I never acted on those observations. I never flirted with him, never pursued him, never tried to make anything happen. I was just friendly, normal friendly, the way you're supposed to be friendly with your spouse's family members. But apparently, according to Aunt Linda and probably others, every normal interaction I had with Chase was secretly inappropriate flirting. Every time I sat next to him at dinner, which, by the way, was usually because Derek was sitting somewhere else talking to his brother or his dad, that was evidence of something sinister. Every time I complimented his shirt or laughed at his jokes or asked him about his job, that was me crossing some invisible line that I didn't even know existed. The truth is, I've sometimes wondered if Derek was a little jealous of Chase. Chase is a year older, more successful. He's a manager at a tech company, making serious money, while Derek is still trying to get promoted at his office job. Chase bought a house 2 years ago, while Derek and I are still renting an apartment. Chase always has interesting stories about trips he's taken and things he's done, while Derek and I mostly just work and watch Netflix. Chase works out regularly and looks like it, while Derek keeps saying he'll start going to the gym, but never actually does. So, yeah, maybe there's been some comparison. Maybe I've noticed the differences between them. But that's not the same as wanting to be with Chase instead of Derek. That's just noticing reality. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. Now, let me tell you how one comment at a family barbecue destroyed my entire life. It was a Sunday afternoon about a month ago. My husband, let's call him Derek, even though that's not his real name, because I'm not about to give you his actual identity after what he did, and I went to his parents' house for the monthly family barbecue they host every summer. It's this big tradition in his family where everyone comes together. Parents, siblings, aunts and uncles, cousins, sometimes even neighbors and family friends. Usually there are like 30 or 40 people there. Lots of food, lots of beer, lots of hanging out in the backyard and catching up. I normally enjoy these gatherings, to be honest. Derek's family is pretty chill, pretty fun. His parents are nice. His siblings are okay. The cousins are all around our age, so we have stuff to talk about. It's not like some families where there's constant drama or people don't get along. For the most part, everyone gets along fine, and it's actually a good time. This particular Sunday, I'd been looking forward to the barbecue because I'd had a stressful week at work, and I wanted to just relax, drink some beer, eat some burgers, and not think about anything serious. Derek and I had driven over around 2 in the afternoon. The party was already in full swing when we arrived. Music playing, kids running around, people clustered in groups talking and laughing, the smell of the grill going strong. Derek's dad was manning the grill like always. His mum was setting out side dishes and making sure everyone had drinks. His older brother was playing cornhole with some cousins. His sister was taking photos for Instagram. Just a typical, normal family event. We grabbed beers from the cooler and started making the rounds, saying hi to everyone, catching up with people we hadn't seen since the last gathering. Everything was fine. Everything was good. I was having fun. I probably had my first beer around 2:30, then another one around 3:15. Then someone opened a bottle of wine, and I had a glass of that around 4:00. Then another beer around 5:00. I wasn't drunk, not falling down drunk anyway, but I was definitely tipsy. That pleasant buzzed feeling where everything seems funnier, and you feel more confident, and your filter for what you should and shouldn't say starts to deteriorate. By around 6:00 p.m., I was sitting at one of the picnic tables in the backyard with Derek, his sister Sarah, his Aunt Linda, and a few other relatives I didn't know super well. We were just chatting about random stuff, work, TV shows, weekend plans, nothing important. And then Derek's cousin walked by. His name is Chase. He's Derek's age, maybe a year older. And he is, objectively speaking, very attractive. Tall, like 6'2" or 6'3". Fit, like he actually works out, unlike Derek, who keeps saying he's going to start going to the gym but never does. Well-dressed in a way that shows he actually puts thought into his appearance. Confident, charming, funny. The kind of guy who always seems to have interesting stories and makes everyone laugh. I'd met Chase at previous family events. He was always friendly, always said hi, always included me in conversations. Nice guy. And yes, attractive. But I'd never thought about him in any romantic or inappropriate way because I was married to Derek, and Chase was Derek's cousin, and obviously that would be weird and wrong. But that day, with the alcohol lowering my inhibitions and my filter basically gone, I watched Chase walk by, and before I could stop myself, the thought that had been somewhere in the back of my mind just came out. Chase walked past our table carrying a plate of food, heading toward where his parents were sitting. He nodded at us, smiled, said, "Hey guys," in that friendly way he always did. And I, for reasons I still can't fully explain, said loudly enough for everyone at our table to hear. You know, sometimes I think I picked the wrong guy in this family. The conversation at the table stopped, died immediately, like someone had pressed a pause button on the entire gathering. Everyone looked at me. Derek looked at me. His sister looked at me with her eyebrows raised. His Aunt Linda's mouth fell open slightly. And instead of backtracking, instead of laughing it off and changing the subject, instead of realizing I'd just said something really inappropriate, the alcohol in my system made me double down. I laughed and gestured toward Chase, who had stopped walking and was now standing there frozen, looking back at us with confusion on his face. "If I had married your cousin instead," I said, still laughing like this was hilarious, "I'd probably have a better life." The silence that followed was deafening. Nobody laughed. Nobody smiled. Nobody did the "oh, she's just joking" thing that people do when someone says something awkward but salvageable. Derek slowly set down his beer. His face had gone completely blank. No expression, just staring at me like he was seeing me for the first time. Chase looked shocked. Genuinely shocked. Like he couldn't believe I'd just said that. He looked at Derek, then at me, then at Derek again. Sarah muttered under her breath, "Oh my God," Aunt Linda whispered to the person next to her, but loud enough that I could hear. Did she really just say that? I looked around the table, suddenly realizing that maybe this hadn't been as funny as I thought it was. "What? I'm just joking. Obviously I'm joking." But nobody was laughing. Nobody was smiling. Everyone was just staring at me with varying degrees of shock and disapproval and discomfort. Derek stood up, slowly, carefully, like he was trying very hard to control his movements. "Where are you going?" I asked, nervous now, the alcohol-induced confidence starting to fade as I realized something was very wrong. He didn't answer, just walked away from the table toward the house. I thought he was going inside to cool off, to take a few minutes away from everyone, maybe to the bathroom or to get another beer, or just to process what I'd said. I had no idea what he was actually doing. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. Derek came back outside about 5 minutes later. I'd been sitting there awkwardly with his family, nobody talking, everyone pretending to be very interested in their food or their phones or anything other than me. He walked directly to our table holding his phone. He was strangely calm. Too calm. That same terrifying calm he'd had when he stood up. Like there was a storm raging inside him, but he'd locked it down completely. "Derek, come on," I said, trying to smile, trying to lighten the mood. "It was obviously a joke. You know I was just being silly." He ignored me completely. Didn't even look at me. Just opened his messages and started typing. I leaned over to see what he was doing. He was messaging Chase. "Derek, what are you—" I started. But before I could finish, I saw what he'd written. "She says she chose the wrong one. She says she wants you instead. She thinks she'd have a better life with you. Here's our address if you want to come get her." And then he tapped send. The entire table gasped. Multiple people gasped at the same time. I jumped out of my seat so fast I almost knocked over my beer. "What are you doing? Delete that! Delete it right now!" But he just pocketed his phone and looked at me with those blank, cold eyes. "You want him," he said quietly. "You can have him. I'm giving you exactly what you said you wanted." "I didn't want— It was a joke!" I was screaming now, panic completely taking over. "Jokes are supposed to be funny," he said. "Nobody's laughing." He turned and walked back toward the house. I looked at Chase, who was now standing near the grill looking at his phone, his eyes wide as he read the message Derek had just sent. Our eyes met across the yard. I shook my head frantically, mouthing, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." But he just looked confused and uncomfortable, and like he wished he was literally anywhere else. Derek went inside the house. I ran after him, my heart pounding, my mind racing, trying to figure out how to fix this. "Derek, Derek, stop, talk to me. I didn't mean what I said. I was drunk and being stupid, please." He walked straight to our bedroom, his parents' guest room where we'd left our overnight bags, because we'd been planning to stay the night. He grabbed my bag and started throwing my clothes into it. "What are you doing?" I grabbed his arm, trying to stop him. "You can't seriously be packing my stuff. This is insane." "You said you picked the wrong person," he said, still in that too calm voice. "You said you'd have a better life with my cousin, so I'm helping you pursue that better life." "I was joking. I don't care." He finished packing my bag, zipped it up, grabbed it and walked back through the house. His mother was standing in the living room. She'd clearly heard everything. She looked at me with such disappointment, such disapproval, that I felt it like a physical slap. "I thought you loved my son," she said quietly. I do love him. I was just drunk and said something stupid." But she didn't respond, just opened the front door wider so Derek could carry my bag outside. His sister Sarah had her phone out. She was filming. Actually filming this entire nightmare. "Sarah, don't," I yelled. "Put your phone away." "Are you kidding?" she said. "This is going straight to the family group chat. Everyone needs to see what you said." We went back outside to the backyard, where everyone was still gathered. The party had basically stopped. No one was eating or drinking or having fun anymore. Everyone was just standing around in clusters, watching us, whispering to each other. Aunt Linda said loudly, loud enough for everyone to hear. She always flirted with him. I knew it. I told everyone, but nobody believed me. "I never flirted with Chase," I protested. "You called him handsome at Christmas," she said. "You sat next to him at Easter dinner. You always make excuses to talk to him. We all saw it." "That wasn't— I'd said he looked nice at Christmas, but that was just a compliment. And I sat next to him at Easter, because that's where the empty seat was. And I talked to him because he's Derek's family, and I'm trying to be friendly. But apparently, every normal, polite interaction I'd ever had with Chase was now being reinterpreted as evidence that I'd been harboring secret feelings for him this whole time. Derek set my bag down on the patio. "Derek, please," I begged. tears starting to stream down my face now. Please don't do this. I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry. It was a stupid joke. I didn't mean any of it. I love you, not Chase. You're my husband. You're the one I married. Please. His phone buzzed. He pulled it out and looked at it. Then he held it up so I could see the screen. A text from Chase. I'll be there in 20 minutes. My blood turned to ice. He's not actually coming. Tell me he's not actually coming. He's coming, Derek said flatly. You said you wanted him. He's coming to get you. I don't want him, I screamed. I don't want him. I want you. This is crazy. You're being crazy. I'm being crazy, he asked. I'm not the one who told my spouse's entire family that I picked the wrong person to marry. He walked past me and went back inside the house. I spent the next 20 minutes in absolute agony, pure, concentrated torture. Standing in Derek's parents' backyard, with my bag at my feet like some kind of vagrant being evicted, his entire family watching me like I was the main attraction at a circus, no one talking to me, no one even looking directly at me, everyone just staring peripherally while pretending to be interested in their phones or their food or literally anything other than making eye contact with me. Derek stayed inside the house. I could see him through the kitchen window sometimes, just standing there, talking to his dad, acting like everything was completely normal. Like he hadn't just summoned his cousin to come collect his wife like unwanted furniture. His mother stood by the back door like some kind of guard or bouncer, making sure I didn't try to go back inside, didn't try to follow Derek, didn't try to escape this nightmare into the safety of the house. Every time I took a step toward the door, she'd shift her position slightly, blocking my path without actually saying anything. His sister Sarah had her phone out the entire time, actually recording my humiliation for posterity. For the family group chat, for evidence, I could see the little red recording indicator on her screen. Every sob, every desperate text I was sending Derek, every moment of my complete breakdown, it was all being documented. Sarah, please stop recording, I begged at one point. Please, this is humiliating enough. You humiliated yourself, she said coldly. I'm just documenting it so there's no confusion later about what actually happened. Aunt Linda was holding court near the grill, loud enough that I could hear every word even though she wasn't technically talking to me. I always knew something was off about her, she was saying to a cluster of relatives. The way she looked at Chase, the way she always found excuses to talk to him. At Christmas, she spent 20 minutes showing him photos on her phone. 20 minutes, while Derek was right there. I told my husband, I said, that girl's got her eye on the wrong cousin, and he said I was being paranoid. But I was right. I knew it. Remember at Easter? Someone else chimed in. She wore that dress, you know the one, and she sat right next to Chase at dinner. Derek had to sit all the way at the other end of the table. That dress was very short, another aunt agreed. Inappropriate for a family Easter dinner, if you ask me. I wanted to scream at them that I wore that dress because it was cute, and Easter appropriate and pastel. I sat next to Chase because that's where the empty seat was. But what was the point? They'd already decided I was guilty. They'd already constructed this whole narrative where I'd been secretly pining for Chase all along. Derek's brother walked past me at one point, shaking his head. You really fucked up, he muttered, just loud enough for me to hear. Then he went inside. I tried calling Derek. He didn't answer. The phone would ring and then go to voicemail. I tried texting him. Read receipts showed he was reading every single message, but no responses came back. Please don't do this. I'm so sorry. I love you, not Chase. It was just a stupid drunk comment. Please answer me. Derek, please, I'm begging you. This is humiliating. Everyone is watching. Please just let me come inside and we can talk about this privately. Nothing. Just silence. Just waiting. Just standing there in that backyard, feeling smaller and smaller with every passing minute. And then, exactly 23 minutes after Derek had sent that text, I know because I was staring at my phone obsessively checking the time, I heard a car pull into the driveway, the sound of an engine cutting off, a car door opening and closing. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might actually throw up right there on the lawn. My hand started shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. This couldn't be happening. This had to be some kind of nightmare that I was going to wake up from any second. But it wasn't a nightmare. It was worse than any nightmare because it was real. Chase appeared around the side of the house, walking slowly into the backyard, looking uncomfortable and confused, and like he very much wished he was anywhere else in the entire world. Every single person in that yard, and there had to be at least 30 people still there, turned to watch him arrive. Dead silent. Just the sound of his footsteps on the grass. Like a scene from a movie where time slows down and the protagonist walks toward their doom in slow motion. "Please don't come over here," I whispered to myself, even though he was already walking directly toward me. "Please just wave and leave. Please just say you came to check in and then go home. Please." But he kept walking until he was standing right in front of me, his face a mixture of confusion, sympathy, and severe discomfort. "Hey," he said awkwardly, his voice quiet. "So, Derek texted me. He said I should come here." Before I could respond, before I could explain or apologize or beg him to just pretend this wasn't happening, Derek came out of the house. He walked directly toward us with this purposeful stride, carrying my bag like it weighed nothing, even though I'd packed it pretty full that morning when we'd planned to spend the night. He stopped right between Chase and me, creating this horrible triangle of awkwardness and humiliation. "She's all yours," Derek said to Chase, his voice loud enough that everyone in the yard could hear. Loud enough that this was clearly a performance, a statement, a public declaration. "Apparently she's been wishing for you this whole time. Apparently I was never good enough. Apparently you would have given her a better life, so here she is. Take her." I grabbed Derek's arm desperately, my fingers digging into his sleeve. "No, stop, this is insane. I don't want him. I want you. I made one stupid comment while I was drunk, that's it. That's all it was. Please don't do this." Chase held up both hands and took a step back, his expression morphing from confused to alarmed. "Whoa, no, absolutely not. I want no part of any of this. I didn't ask for this. I don't want this. I came because the text was really weird and concerning, and I thought maybe there was some kind of emergency, but I'm not. No, just no." He looked at Derek with genuine sympathy and apology. "Look, man, I'm sorry about whatever's going on here. I don't know why she said what she apparently said, but I never did anything to encourage it. I've always been completely respectful. You're my cousin, family. I would never do anything to hurt you or your marriage. Whatever's happening here, I'm not part of it, and I don't want to be part of it." "I know," Derek said, his voice softening slightly when he talked to Chase, but still hard when he looked at me. "This isn't about you. You didn't do anything wrong. This is about her. This is about the fact that my wife stood up at a family barbecue and told everyone that she picked the wrong guy, that she should have married you instead of me, that she'd have a better life with you, in front of my parents, my siblings, my aunts and uncles, everyone." Chase's eyes went wide. "She said that? Out loud? At the barbecue?" "She said that," Derek confirmed, "so I'm giving her what she apparently wants. I'm letting her pursue that better life she thinks you'd give her." Chase looked at me, and the pity in his eyes was somehow worse than anger would have been. Wow, that's really messed up. I'm sorry she said that. That's a terrible thing to say to your husband." He turned back to Derek. "But I'm not taking her anywhere. She's your wife, not mine. And honestly, after hearing that she'd say something like that, I wouldn't want to be with someone who thinks it's okay to compare partners like that. That's a huge red flag." And then he looked at me one more time, and I'll never forget the expression on his face. Disappointment mixed with contempt, mixed with pity. "I'm sorry, but you really shouldn't have said that. I don't know what you were thinking, but that was really, really messed up. Derek's a good guy. He didn't deserve that, and doing it in front of his whole family, that's cruel. And then he turned around, walked back to his car, got in, started the engine, and drove away, leaving me standing there with Derek and approximately 30 members of his family all staring at me, all having witnessed Chase's rejection, all knowing that even the person I'd supposedly wanted instead of my husband didn't want me either. I thought maybe, after Chase left, after he'd rejected me and made it clear he wanted nothing to do with this situation, Derek would soften, would realize he'd made his point, would let me explain and apologize and work through this. I was wrong. Derek picked up my bag again and walked toward the front of the house. I followed him, along with basically his entire family, because apparently this was now public entertainment. He put my bag down on the front porch. "Derek," I started. "You wanted a better option," he said, cutting me off. "You said I was the wrong choice. You said you should have picked Chase instead. Well, turns out he doesn't want you either. So now you get to find out if anyone does." "That's not what I meant." "That's exactly what you meant. Maybe not consciously, maybe not as a plan. But somewhere in your head, you actually think that. You actually compare me to my cousin and find me lacking. And I'm not going to spend the rest of my life wondering if you're looking at other men in my family and wishing you'd made different choices." "I don't. I only want you. I've only ever wanted you." He shook his head. "If that were true, you wouldn't have said what you said. Drunk words are sober thoughts. You've heard that saying." "It's true." He walked back toward the front door. "Where am I supposed to go?" I called after him. "Derek, where am I supposed to go?" He paused at the door, turned back to look at me one last time. "Not my problem anymore," he said. And then he went inside. His entire family filed in after him. His mother was last. She looked at me with sadness in her eyes. "You should go," she said quietly. "You're not welcome here anymore." And then she closed the door. I heard the lock click, heard the deadbolt slide into place. The porch light went off, leaving me in darkness. Inside, I could hear voices. Someone laughed. Someone else said something I couldn't make out. Life was continuing for them. The party was resuming. They were moving on. And I was standing on the porch with my bag, alone, humiliated, with neighbors peeking through windows at the crazy drama happening at the house. It's been a month. A full month since that barbecue. A month since my life fell apart over one stupid comment. Derek won't talk to me, won't see me, won't answer any of my calls or texts or emails. I've sent him hundreds of messages, apologizing, explaining, begging. All ignored. His lawyer sent papers, divorce papers. He's actually filing for divorce over this. I had to move in with my friend Rachel. She was the only person who would take me in, and even she thinks I screwed up. She's letting me stay on her couch, but she's made it clear it's temporary, and I need to find my own place soon. The family group chat, the one Sarah said she was going to post the video to. Yeah, she did. The video of me begging Derek, of Chase rejecting me, of me being humiliated in front of everyone. It's in the family chat. Everyone has seen it. Everyone knows what happened. I tried to reach out to Derek's mother to apologize, to explain. She responded with one text. "You hurt my son. Please don't contact our family again." Derek's sister blocked me on all social media. Chase won't respond to my messages either. Not that I was trying to pursue him or anything. I just wanted to apologize for dragging him into this mess. But he's ghosted me completely. And the worst part? Some of our mutual friends have seen the video. Someone from the family shared it outside the family chat. Now, people I work with have somehow heard about it. My reputation is destroyed. Everyone thinks I was having an affair with Chase, or wanted to have an affair with Chase, or had a crush on Chase the whole time I was with Derek. None of that is true, but that's the story that's out there now. But here's what I keep coming back to. The thing that makes me feel like maybe, just maybe, his reaction was too extreme. It was a joke. One comment made while drunk at a family party. People say stupid things when they're drinking all the time. That's what alcohol does. It lowers your inhibitions and makes you say things you don't mean. I didn't deserve this. I didn't deserve to be humiliated in front of his entire family. I didn't deserve to have my cousin-in-law summoned to come get me like I was some kind of unwanted package. I didn't deserve to be kicked out and divorced over one comment. They acted like I cheated just because I said his cousin was attractive, just because I made a hypothetical observation about how things might have been different if circumstances had been different. That's not cheating. That's not even close to cheating. Honestly, they're the dramatic ones, not me. They're the ones who turned one stupid comment into a full-scale family crisis. They're the ones who filmed it and shared it and made sure everyone knew about my moment of drunken stupidity. Derek should have pulled me aside, should have told me privately that what I said hurt him, should have given me a chance to apologize without an audience, should have handled this like an adult instead of staging this elaborate public humiliation. But he didn't. He chose revenge. He chose to destroy me in front of everyone. He chose to make sure I lost everything: my marriage, my home, my relationships with his family, my reputation. All over one comment, one joke, one moment of bad judgment. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. But late at night, lying on Rachel's couch, unable to sleep, I have to face some uncomfortable truths. I've thought about Chase before. Not romantically, not seriously, but I've thought about him. I've noticed that he's more successful than Derek, that he's in better shape, that he seems more confident and put together. I've caught myself comparing them sometimes. Little comparisons, nothing major, just observations about how Chase has his life together in ways Derek doesn't. And maybe, somewhere deep down, I did wonder what it would be like if I'd met Chase first, if I'd ended up with him instead of Derek. Not because I wanted to leave Derek, not because I was planning anything, just wondering, hypothetically, the way people sometimes wonder about roads not taken, but saying it out loud, at a family gathering, in front of everyone. That crossed a line. That made the private thought public. That hurt Derek in ways I didn't fully understand until it was too late. And the way I said it, I picked the wrong guy and I'd have a better life. That wasn't just noticing Chase was attractive. That was explicitly saying Derek was the wrong choice. That was saying I regretted marrying him. That was saying his cousin would have been better. How would I feel if Derek had said the same thing about my sister? If he'd said at a family party that he should have married her instead, that he picked the wrong sibling? I'd be devastated, humiliated, done with him forever. So maybe Derek's reaction wasn't crazy. Maybe it was exactly what my comment deserved.